Trench? Trench? Trench! It's okay, I'll do the speech. Hi, roll titles. Before we go any further, due to unfortunate circumstances, I am unable to give this speech live. However, this does allow for a unique opportunity. As some of our guests speak Mandarin, I can do this. And now, on with the speech. I would like to thank Maggie, the bridesmaid, who looks absolutely wonderful and has done a fantastic job today. And of course, I would like to compliment Hyen on how amazing she looks this evening. And as for Chris, well, what can I say? We tried our best. For those who don't know me, I'm Andy, Chris's cousin. Undisputed, Alpha Geek once more of the Austin clan, now that Chris has found, shall we say, a distraction from his love of gadgets, cars, and the girls from Hollyoaks. I thought I'd begin by looking at what kind of a man Chris is. Why does he always leave room for his pudding? Why does he have a song written about him? Wonder Willow. Christopher Edward Williams was born on the 30th of May 1980 to Anne and Colin. I didn't know Chris much as a child, but unfortunately for Chris, I've done my research and found his old school nickname. Before he indulged in a lifetime's worth of puddings, Chris was actually quite small, and this, combined with his surname, led him to have the misfortune to be christened with the very apt name of Little Willie. I'll let you make your own jokes. I just thought the translation's correct. Anyway, he can ask a bride in the morning if he's right or not. It wasn't too long before we got the family obsession for rugby league, and has been a proud supporter of Wigan. Here he is, supporting his team. Hang on, that's wrong. I'll try again. Is that better? Hey, Trench, have you been messing with these files again? In my research, I also discovered that Chris had a bit of a reputation. A dark side, shall we say. It would seem, and I'm sure this may come as a shock to most of you, that our little Willie has been a rogue over the years, leaving a string of broken lovers in his wake. And now, a warning for Hyen. Chris, being in Austin, has picked up the family tradition of being slightly accident prone from my late great-grandfather Harry Austin. This is a man whose exploits include falling downstairs through a plate glass window and, while scanning, cut through an electrical mains cable and plunged the street into darkness. We found out at an early age that Chris was susceptible to being accident prone, as demonstrated in the following example. And we have what happened when Chris went on a white water rafting team building course. Somehow, Chris managed to find the window and put his hand through it. How you do that whilst on water is anyone's guess. And of course, this time, whilst walking in the lakes on a man camping expedition a couple of years ago, Chris split his pants while sleeping over a stream. And curiously, none of his male friends wanted to lend a hand. But fortunately now, he has a wonderful wife to look after these things for him. Later on this year, some of us will be going to Chris's stag do. I realise this isn't exactly how things are done, but what are you going to do? But we have to be careful with Chris though. He's not exactly known for his drinking ability. For example, on Chris's 21st, he went out round Wigan with the usual gang. Unfortunately, he did get a little bit too drunk. When the Full Monty music was playing in Chicago Rock, he took it upon himself to start stripping to the music. Naturally, the dancers were offended by Little Willie and warned him not to do that. Unfortunately, he didn't mention this to Paul Trencher, who was also stripping and got ejected from the club instead. And then there was a time that Chris came down to my house in Manchester in 2001. After quite a session, Chris came back to my house, threw up in the kitchen and passed out, leaving my housemate, Tony, who is now my manager, to clean up the mess. Luckily, I'd already gone to bed by that point. And then there's another time which comes to mind, but I promised Chris I would never mention it. I'll have to ask him about that. And so, it gives me immense pleasure, and not to mention relief, to invite you all to be upstanding, raise your glasses, and join me in a toast to the happy couple, to Chris and Hyann, the new Mr. and Mrs. Williams. May your love be modern enough to defy the times, but old-fashioned enough to last forever. Ladies and gentlemen, the bride and groom.